So in this video, we're going to complete the practice 2 problem. In this video, I'm going to show you still how to continue to join pieces of materials together to create this solid model. And then also, when we get to the hole, I'm going to show you how to locate the hole using your dimensions and how to cut that from the part. So I've gone ahead and started the problem with drawing the base. So the base is 3/4 of an inch tall, 3 inches, and the depth is 2.5. So I just drew this rectangle and had that already created. So after doing that, just to kind of go over what you're going to do next is you're going to draw the second part, which was going to be that triangle. I'm just drawing that right on top. So you can see here as I point to my mouse, I have that suppressed, but what I'm going to do now is unsuppress that and look at the process of laying that out on the base there. So all I did was, let's take a look at the sketch. So what I did was I sketched at this location. So I went to the back side of this part. Okay, so on the back side, I created a new sketch back here on this surface. And when I created that new sketch, I just drew the line up, over to the corner, and back over to the bottom to create that entire perimeter. You want to make sure that all your boundaries are closed, so then that way when you extrude it, it will extrude as a solid. So just defining that top of that triangle at 2.5 inches will give me that part. After you do that, finish the sketch and then go into your extrude and extrude this piece forward. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to just delete the hole off. So what we're going to get, I'll just show you right here. So we're going to draw this hole in here. We're going to sketch the hole on this top surface. We're going to locate it. We're going to give a dimension for this, and then that hole will be created. So just for the purpose of you being able to watch me do that, let me go ahead and delete that whole section. So let's talk about real quick what I'm doing here. I'm just right-clicking on the extrusion. Okay, so I'm going to delete. When I do that, you can see that it says it's got a little checkbox right here. It says to delete the consumed sketches and features. So what that means is what I'm deleting is any sketches that are related to that extrusion and the actual feature itself. So if I uncheck this, it will leave just the sketch, and I can have the hole there, but I'm going to draw it for you anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that off of that tree, and there you go. So that went away. So just going back to my Start 2D sketch, I always want to start off with a sketch, and then I follow it up with an extrusion. So I'm going to click on the Start 2D sketch, and I'm going to pick on this surface. I could pick on this surface, or I could pick on the bottom. So either the top surface, or if I wanted to turn this upside down, I could draw on the bottom. It doesn't make any difference. But since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put it there. Now, I've got it naturally oriented in this direction with the top here. If I wanted to move it around, I could also. So if I go up to the orbit box, if I look at those little arrows right there, that rotates it 90 degrees. And you can just keep going around and click on that to orient it in any direction you want. So, onto our circle, or to the hole on the part. So, I've got a hole that's specified. Let's zoom in on this. I think it's a 0.8 diameter. Let me get on there. 0.8 diameter. I've got it 1.25 from the edge and 3/4 of an inch from the outside. I didn't put it in the middle on purpose because I wanted you to see how you can move an object. You can sketch something, like I can just come in here and draw a circle. I didn't put any dimensions. I didn't locate it. Okay, so I just sketched it on there. So from here, what I want to do now is use my dimension command, and I want to define where it's going to be located. So I'm going to go from this line right here to the center of my circle, pull that dimension over, and I'm going to type in 0.75. Now I'm going to go from this edge to the center of the circle, and I'm going to type in 1.25. And that's going to locate that hole. So that's 2 pieces of information I need. The third piece of information that I need whenever I'm drawing a hole on a part is I need the the diameter. So the diameter is 0.8. So as soon as I type in 0.8, it will modify my sketch, and there is my sketch. So that's it. All right, so I'm going to click on Finish Sketch. So we always want to draw and then immediately finish the sketch. I could go on and do something else if I wanted to come back later on and extrude that, but as a beginner, you guys need to get in the habit of sketching and then immediately go into the extrude command. Okay, so on our screen right here, the profile, it automatically picks up the last profile that you were working with. So it automatically sees this this area right here. We want to look at the output. So right now, it doesn't know whether it's adding material here or if it's cutting away. It has no idea what your sketch looks like. It doesn't know that that's what you're trying to get to. So you've got to tell it either you want to join or you're adding more material to the object or you're going to cut it away. So in this application, we're cutting away. So I'm going to click on the word cut. Okay, so when we cut, we have several options. So if I move this around, you can see that the cut distance is set up for 1 inch right now. So that means that that object is going to cut through that part 1 inch. All right, so as I move this here, if I change it to 0.4375, it doesn't cut all the way through the part. It only cuts a little halfway through, and that's not really what we want. So there are a couple commands that control the depth of something that's being cut away or, joining. For the cut, when you specify the distance, you can click on the button right here that says Through All, and it's going to automatically just calculate what that surface is. So it will always go through all. So if the dimension changed, the 0.75 dimension changed, it would automatically update. Same as the this is to a different face. We're not going to do that one today. And this one is one that I often use. It's just 2 necks. So if I added something else underneath this, like another extrusion, it would click over to the next face. So that's one that also is often used when you're trying to put a hole through something. I like to use these two instead of specifying the distance, because if I was saying, if I change the distance for this, I would want that hole to go with it. If the part didn't need the hole in it and I added something to it, you could leave it at 0.75, but most of the time when we put a hole in something, it's because there's something going there. Either you're putting it in for a bolt or something like that, and you need to continue to have that hole there. So that gets into later on, like when you're designing, and you have to have a reason for that hole, and by then you'll be more familiar with this. So for right now, you can either specify the through all or 2 next. If you type in the distance 0.75, you just need to be prepared that if you change the thickness of this base, you would have to then go back and modify the sketch. So I'm going to leave it like that for right now and hit the OK button. And as I turn this over with my orbit button, you can see that the hole went all the way through. And let me explain a little bit about these dimensions that are on here. I put these dimensions on here so I could create that sketch for you over in Word. So I went over to the annotate. We don't normally put these dimensions on there when we're working. You should not see any dimensions on yours as well. I just put those dimensions on there so you could see it. So I can just pick like the surface, and it will place a dimension on the part itself. But if I were doing this like for work, I would never have dimensions on an isometric drawing. So just wanted to let you know why they are there, and just to finish this up, I may just go ahead and delete those, and those will not be there. Now, if I wanted to look and find out where everything's located, I can always go back over and look at my extrusions. So if I'm on extrusion 2 and I want to look at what's going on sketch 2, I can right click on it, edit sketch, and take a look at it and see the dimensions. So it's always great to keep your dimensions on your sketches as you're drawing. You really don't need to delete those. All right, and that's it for problem 2.